Welcome to PubTalk. Aren't you going to give me a round of applause? Thank you. This is such a great crowd. Thank you all for being here. We've had a really eventful few months, event after event after event, both local, regional, and global. So it'll be fun to be together tonight and celebrate some successes. I want to thank, my name is Julie Harrelson. Did I say that earlier? So every time I come to PubTalk, Julie Harrelson, Julie L. Harrelson, Cascade Angels. Every time I come to PubTalk, I meet somebody that I haven't met before. And sometimes I meet people that I've met before that I don't remember that I've met, because I've met so many people in the last couple of years. But every time I come to PubTalk, I say, if I haven't met you, come and introduce yourself. So if I haven't met you, come and introduce yourself. And if I have met you, come and introduce yourself too, because I might not remember you. This is a great community, and we're growing like crazy. And so there are quite a few new people here to town, and I really encourage you to, those of you that know each other, visit amongst yourselves, but also make sure that you're talking to the other people that are new, because you know how it is to be new, because most of us didn't grow up here, and we're just getting this thing started. And this PubTalk is the engine for entrepreneurialism in Central Oregon, for coming together kind of a relaxed way and spending some time with some great people. So I want to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors this would not be possible. Columbia Bank, Carnot Peterson, and UBS Rivera Wealth Management. Also the supporting sponsors, Jones & Roth CPAs, COCC Small Business Development Center, Central Oregon Realtors Association, or CORE. So I'd like to introduce John Napier from Carnot Peterson. John.
Thank you, Julie. Welcome. Carnot Peterson is very glad to continue our support for PubTalk. As Julie mentioned, my name is John Napier, and I'm an attorney at the Carnot Peterson law firm here in town, where I co-chair with Kurt Barker our emerging business, technology, and intellectual property practice group. So among a few news items recently coming out of Washington, D.C., the chairwoman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mary Jo White, earlier this week announced her resignation, or not, actually a retirement coming up in January. This is going to have some important ramifications for local startups. And as you may be aware, the Securities Exchange Commission, in addition to other activities, it regulates interstate private placements like convertible notes, preferred stock, and also securities crowdfunding. So the SEC has had a record number of enforcement actions in the last 3 years, and they've adopted the broken windows theory of enforcement. The theory is that when a window, actual or metaphorical, is broken and someone fixes it, that's a sign that lawlessness will not be tolerated, disorder. We don't like that. But when a broken window is not fixed, that's a sign, sort of a slippery slope into disorder. And so Mary Jo White has previously stated that the essence of this theory is that no infraction is too small to be uncovered and punished, that the SEC should look at its enforcement mission in exactly the same way, and that she believes, this is important, the SEC should pursue even the smallest infraction. So a very law and order approach in that office. So with Mary Jo White's resignation, there are now 3 vacancies on the 5-person Board of Commissioners for the SEC. The next year, the incoming president, with the consent of the Senate, is likely to fill those 3 vacancies. So stay tuned, as those changes are likely going to have a significant impact on how local startups and investors raise capital. So stay tuned, pay attention. There's likely to be some changes there. And as always, feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if Carnot Peterson can be of any assistance. And most importantly, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
And John, that was not a general solicitation, correct? Okay, good. Glad to know. All right. Okay. Next, I'd like to introduce Ryan McHugh from UBS.
Good evening, everybody. She said my name is Ryan McHugh, and I was thinking tonight, I was talking to Aaron, and I've had a pleasure of being a part of EDCO Group for now almost 5 or 6 years. So Bend has come a long way in that time, and I've been on the board, and I've been happy to be a part of this group, and now as a sponsor for EDCO and everything that's going on here for PubTalk tonight. I'm a local independent wealth planner. I have a partner, Keith Rivera. We work over at the UBS office, and we also have a partner up in Anchorage. I'm also a certified financial planner, CFP, and portfolio manager, and we service affluent families, individuals, and business owners for all their comprehensive investment and wealth planning needs. So, kind of in the theme with John tonight, a lot happened last week, right? The landscape is changing. Whether you like it or not, we're going from one regime to another. And the other one now that we're getting, whether you like it or not, and as the markets are digesting this, it's going to be more pro-business. And we're also coming upon what's called a supermajority, where I think it was been 90 years since the Republicans have controlled Congress, the Senate, and the presidency. So what you're going to see is a lot different probably than the last 8 years just because of that majority. Some of these policies, again, whether you like them or not, that you've heard on the campaign trail, as long as they're reasonable, are probably going to go through. And so the thing I wanted to talk about tonight on our side, which is investments, interest rates, things like that, is taxes. So corporate tax rates right now are at 35%. If he reduces them down to 15%, which is a pretty big possibility, you're going to see a pretty big change in the market valuations. Companies, dividends, income, they're going to go higher. Instant profitability, right? This may take a while. We don't know all the timing of it, but there are some things out there that are kind of fueling what's going to be a pretty positive environment, especially for U.S. equities. You're going to see potential repatriation of sectors of companies that were abroad. You're going to see maybe more domestic infrastructure for corporations. You're also going to see maybe a shift in how companies structure their business. If you can get 15% on a C Corp, maybe the LLC factor might not be as opportunistic anymore. So all that being said, you want to take a look maybe a little bit harder at your portfolio and how it's positioned. If you're doing it yourself or maybe you work with another wealth manager, I would just invite you to come maybe talk with Keith and I if you have any questions, because it's certainly something we want to look at right now as things will change. And what you hear on the media isn't always true. I think you guys know that. But all right, thank you for everything. Again, I'm Ryan McHugh, Rivera Wealth Management.
So I'd like to next introduce Taylor Thompson from Columbia Bank. Taylor?
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, I'm Taylor Thompson with Columbia Bank. I'm a commercial banker at the downtown office. It's hard being a banker anymore. We get a bad rap, and we've had some bad press in the media. But I just have to say, just reading recently, that our organs are actually in high demand. Hospitals report, because they're especially of our hearts that have never been used. So there's plenty of those around. Something that has come to the forefront. One of the oldest operating banks in the U.S. is the U.S. State Street and Bank, founded in 1792 in Massachusetts. That's in the frothy business of banking, that tenure is indeed unusual. The number of bank mergers has increased significantly over the years, increasing almost 20%, 250 mergers between 2013 and 2015. Merger and acquisition activity is indeed alive and well in 2016. A search on iBankNet today revealed over 217 mergers and acquisitions have occurred in the U.S. just this year alone. With the very recent announcement of Bank of the Cascades transition with the First Interstate, this trend continues locally. This wasn't any surprise to analysts, and that's predicted to continue through the end of the year and even trend into next year. Part of some of the things that we deal with as banks is, as a business, as what you have, our cost of doing business is going up dramatically. Our compliance departments in the smaller banks have grown from, a very small percentage of the labor to, a very large percentage. Our compliance burdens are as great as some of the larger banks. So one of the ways that we figured out to be competitive and to grow is to merge. And so, expect to see more of that. It can be a positive thing. It's not a negative thing. And as a community bank, we're committed to providing the best in services and loans and banking products that we possibly can. So I would anticipate we're going to see more mergers. The analysts are all anticipating that as well. If you have any questions about banking or lending, feel free to reach out to us at Columbia Bank. We're downtown on Bond Street, and we'd be happy to help you. Thanks for having me.
Now, was there a comment from the back? No? Okay. Every time we do a pub talk, I acknowledge the EDCO staff. And I'm going to give you the list of names, but I did want to start by saying I think we really owe this team a debt of gratitude. If you think about, we're talking the last few minutes about some events in our country that have happened over the last couple of years. I'm going to drop the other shoe now. When there's change, there's uncertainty, and one of the things I noted in our community is that we really rally together. So over the last couple of weeks and months, we've had some major events here, and one of them that I just don't want to let it just go by is to really acknowledge the success that we had at the Ben Venture Conference. So I want to give everybody a hand for that. And especially the small but mighty EDCO staff. So in attendance tonight, we have Aaron Chayat, Operations Manager, Brian Vieira, Venture Catalyst, Natalie Dent, who's my sidekick over here on the timing and managing the program, Marketing and Communications Manager, Tom Rowley, the Ben Manager, Aaron Riley, Membership and Events Manager, and David Haynes, EDCO Intern. These people, that's a really small group to pull off such a big conference. And not only that, so $3.9 million, I think, was our last figure that we know about that was awarded. Not only that, then they followed it right up with the Civil War auction, which was of benefit to Boys and Girls Club and EDCO. And the persistence that they have in making these things happen is amazing to me. So congratulations to the EDCO staff. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Roger Lee up for the Director's Minute. Roger? You think that's funny? Okay. I'd like to introduce Terry Hockett, EDCO's new technology industry coordinator. Terry, where are you here? Hi, Terry. Introduce yourself to Terry if you can. Terry, congratulations on your new job. This position is in partnership with Technology Association of Oregon and Oregon Biosciences Association. I think Skip Newberry, are you still here? Where are you? So this is Skip. Introduce yourself to him. Technology Association of Oregon is a nascent effort here, and it will be great to have Terry involved with this. Oregon Biosciences Association are bringing those each of those organizations a stronger, long-standing presence in Central Oregon. So, Terry, good luck, and let us know how we can be helpful. And while we're talking about new staff at EDCO, we're excited to announce that we're adding a new position. As the organization has grown, so has our desire to have a full-time person dedicated to membership development. We're in the process of developing the job description and finalizing plans to post the position, so keep your eyes peeled and spread the word, and let us know if you have a rock star in mind that would love to join the EDCO team. Thank you. EDCOs, remember that when I volunteered to do this, I promised you data, I promised you storytelling, I promised you jokes, I promised you I would support the people that came up here to speak, and I also promised you sing-alongs. So be prepared for later. Julie, to announce EDCO's newest members. Kelcon LLC, Rob Kelleher. Express Printing, My Lucky House, Inc., Daughtery Solutions, Inc., Greg, is it Witty or Wit? Witty? Greg? Anyone? Umpqua Bank, Manuel, is it Freitas? Freitas, thank you. Doje, Guild Mortgage, Otrati Bioscience Center, Viewpoint Law Group, the T-Buzz, and Food for All Incorporated. So a really wide variety, and thank you for your membership. It's what helps make EDCO go. So to start our program tonight with all of that as our on-ramp, I want to introduce CEO of July 9, Garrett Lovell, to the stage for a brief company update. July 9 is an Oregon-based brand focusing on unique American goods. Garrett?
How's it going? Thanks for having us back. So as Julie said, my name is Garrett. I started a company called July 9 back in 2012, which basically means for 4 years people have asked why July 9, the name. We picked it from the widest street in the world, which is in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It's 16 lanes wide. I came across the name and liked it, so that's why I chose it. So we spoke at PubTalk about 18 months ago because we ran a Kickstarter, and it was pretty successful, and it was for a bag that I left at my seat. We're a bag company, and we make these little roll-up tote bags called sushi sacks. They look like a little sushi roll rolled up, and when you undo it, it's a nice little tote bag. And we have a lot of line extensions and zippers and fancy stuff that's gone with it. So from that Kickstarter, we did 4.5 times what our goal was, which was really exciting, and it was a fun 30 days to watch that grow. And then once that finished, we turned it into a full-fledged company because we had the seed money to go on. And now we're, a pretty strong international company. We're represented in Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Tokyo, well, that's Japan, Taiwan, pretty much anything in Southeast Asia. We're also in London, and we're picking up a couple of distributors in France this month. So it's been a fast 4 years. In 2015, we did 2x growth, and we were really excited about that because we're like on an exponential curve. This is, we're doubling. That's great. And then something fundamentally shifted in our business, and this year we're bumping up on 4x growth from what we did last year. And so some of you can kind of like shock at that because that means we're either going to make it or we're going to collapse hard because that kind of growth you just can't sustain. I mean, Patagonia almost failed at 20% growth. We're doing 8 times that. We're not a $100 million company though, but the biggest thing we had to do is we had to change our business model, and we had to change it fast. And so we used to operate a small in-house manufacturing team here in Central Oregon. And after Q1, we had already done the sales we'd done the year prior. We realized there's no way we're going to sustain this. We either cap the business today and call it good, or we do something different. And so the core of us is made in America. The Japan buyers value that a lot, so we had to stay in the U.S. And we moved all of our manufacturing to Los Angeles. And that gave us... It not only took all of our money and left us high and dry on that, it means we're carrying a higher inventory than we ever expected. And our profitability was hit a little bit, but it's letting us go after every contract we can possibly want because they can scale up way faster than we can. Their tooling is beyond what we had here in Central Oregon, and it means the product we're making now is the best product we've ever made. And we're really proud of that. So that was one big shift. But the biggest shift we had to make was a fundamental shift in our thinking. And that wasn't an idea we came up on our own. That was something that came out of the EDCO team and Opportunity Knox, our mentor, Preston's here. And it was changing the way we approach business. And we used to do what I think a lot of you guys probably do, is you go to work every day, you put out the fires as fast as you can, and then you rinse and repeat for 365 days. And that works fine at this level. But we were challenged to put a flag ways out there. And how do we want to end July 9? And what goals do we want to do? And then they pushed us to double and triple those goals because it wasn't big enough. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's see if we can do that. And we've maintained it. And so now every day when we approach business, we look at it and going, what am I going to do today that gets me to that goal? It's changed the way I look at what products we release, what marketing dollars we spend, and who we spend them on. It also means what am I going to cut out of the business that's holding us back? And so that change has allowed us to maintain growth, keep going, and that's definitely come out of the community here in Bend from that. The big thing we're trying to do now, and I'm coming up on my time, I know, is we need to open a 3PL, a third-party logistics company in Tokyo. 90% of what we produce goes directly to Tokyo or through the port of Tokyo. So we're looking at large tonnage now going through there, and if we can control distribution with people who know something about that. We can lock in our pricing, which gives us better brand recognition and reliability. It lets us control all of our sales channels because we're starting to see some layer stacking. In January this year, we had 4 reps in Tokyo. We have 18 now. I can't even keep their names straight because they have their Japan name and then their American U.S. name, and so it's actually 36 people I'm keeping track of. So if we can turn that boat around and get going that direction, I see some big things coming for Ridgeline in the future. So thanks a lot for the time, and I'd love to talk to you guys afterwards.
So we have 5 minutes for Q&A with Garrett, and he's going to come back up with some props, some product. What questions do you have for him? I'll answer them. Questions? Questions?
I didn't think I was going to go first, but this is the bag. It looks like a little sushi sack, so I was unprepared, and then it unrolls, turns into a tote bag. So that's pretty much it. Of course it rolls.
Yeah, watch him now. Yeah. It's really cool.
I've only rolled a few of these. So, a few thousand. So, and they're all branded made in America.
So how did you decide Japan? Or did Japan decide your
Japan
products?
found us. We got listed on a blog called Well Spent about 3.5 years ago after the Kickstarter. And a couple reps in Japan bought some product. Once we started sending them in the quantities of 1,000 or more, market saturation happened, and pretty soon we were getting picked up. Every day there was a new store, a new rep, or something big like that. So they found us on a little blog, bought some samples. The Made in America is a big part of that, and it's also a clean design, and a community of people in Japan are commuters. They like small tote bags to move around. So it was a perfect storm that really met right there into that market. Yeah.
What is the bag and strap made of? What is the bag and strap made of?
The bag itself is made of ripstop nylon, so it's extremely durable. Most of our Kickstarter bags from years past are still in circulation. And then the handle on this particular bag is made of a veg tan leather, so it's branded with the Made in America. But we do have other bags that are fully nylon, so you can throw them in the washing machine or take them backpacking and stuff like that. So.
Great. Other questions? Yes.
Was it luck that you got listed in that magazine, or
What?
did you guys market for that?
Was it luck that you got listed in the magazine, or did you market for it?
I would say most of the things we do is what do they say? Opportunity is when luck meets preparation. We are putting our best foot forward every day, and we luckily have landed in some very big venues. So the latest one, we just got listed on marthastewart.com yesterday. So yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good close.
That's a good
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. That's just excellent. I just finished reading recently Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and it's so interesting because when you follow the narrative arc of entrepreneurs, there's always this, and people that are successful at doing this, there's always this really interesting combination of really good luck, really bad luck, and timing. And you see this in this book, but some of the things that have happened, it sounds like, have been really serendipitous. So remember last time we did, who remembers the sing-along we did last time? Gator, do you remember? You don't remember? We did, our theme song was I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. So I want our next speaker to come up while I do this, but this is Ripclear, Ryan from Ripclear, who manufactures lens protectors that are patented thin film technology that protects eyewear lenses and meets. Is it ANSI? ANSI?
Yes.
Z87 military rated clarity, which sounds awesome, but everybody's nervous because you think I'm going to ask you to sing. I can feel it. So you ready? We're going to sing I Can See Clearly Now. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Oh wait, I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that held me by. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. How's that? Good job, everybody. Now, I just made it easy for you. You don't feel like you're going to have to embarrass yourself or anything. So here we go.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, everyone. As mentioned, I am Ryan from Ripclear, and we are we're right here out of Bend, Oregon. Pull up my numbers fun real quick. We are a goggle lens protector. So the easiest way to describe it is think what goes on your cell phone screen, but for any optics. Clear, flat, spherical. As you can see, I have two different kinds here. People get kind of confused when we talk about the difference between spherical and flat. So either one of these, when we first started, they told us it'd be impossible to find something that was clear for something that's spherical like this. So we had to try 100 different types of plastics to finally find something. As mentioned, we are ANSI Z87 military rated. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the ski industry for about 8 years, and then I worked at St. Charles as a system analyst for about 2 years. My business partner, Zach, out in New York City, has brought a couple products to market before, a 3D printer and a very successful signage company. Excuse me. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? Everyone here has scratched an optics before, whether it's a ski or snowboard goggle, or whether it's your sunglasses, whatever it is, you scratched it before. So we made this plastic that'll protect that. Would you ever do that to your optics? Do whatever you want and then tear it away. So they usually last about 6 months. That's the time we get out of them. So right now we sell a 3-pack for about $30. We're in Dick's Sporting Goods and across Canada with our distributor Interex. And what comes with that is a cleaning kit. So a lot of times your goggle or optics end up being cleaner than before you started. It's kind of a nice little phenomenon. It works in any condition. We have the plastic now, so we're very brand agnostic. We can go on any sort of shape you want. We're starting to work with a lot of different companies. It's very easy to apply. So when we say we're like a phone protector, people get kind of nervous, but it's much easier. Trust me, we have a phone protector line, and it's 10 times easier. You can really just clean your goggle lens and then throw them on there. So when we started, we were in the ski and snowboard goggle industry, which is about 25 million people. Our target market was 1 to 5 million. We started getting out there, going to ski and snow shows, and people started pulling us in all these different directions. So we realized we had something more than just for goggles. As you can see here, I have some glasses, and we've worked with football visors and downhill mountain biking, snowmobile, and motocross, and motorcycle. I can go on for days. So when we took a step back, we realized our target market was actually really about 150 million people. Some of the manufacturers we started working with are Under Armour, Gordini, Zenith, Zeal, K2, and most excitingly, Smith, because they want to put us in their military line, and they're going to help us kind of develop some other different products for the inside of your lens. And then recently, Schutz Football Helmets, who's the biggest football helmet manufacturer in the country, and they're talking about 500,000 to 1 million as their target market for that. So right now, we do have the snow goggle going. In quarter 2 of 2017, we're going to release our sunglasses, our tactical unit, and our downhill mountain biking and motocross line. And then the next quarter after that, we're going to release our football and hockey visors, and after that, the snowmobile and motocross testing. So we sent our product out to everyone from day riders to Olympic athletes, and the response is kind of always the same. Why didn't this exist? And this is absolutely something that I need. It's been fantastic. It's really cool to kind of open that up. We sent it out to several publications, skis.com and powder.com. They both wrote reviews on us that were very positive. Our distribution channels right now for our standalone packs are big box retailers, distributors for international sales, resort specialty shops, the internet, Amazon, our website, and then licensing, like we said. So recently we've picked up a new advisor, a military advisor. His name is Eric Hansen from right here in Oregon, and he is the CEO of Tier 7. And what he does is he brings products to the DoD, the Department of Defense. He's brought a goggle company to them before, APEL. So he has experience with this line. He's very confident he's going to get us in there. We're kind of in the pre-steps, but everything is going fantastic. Not just goggles. He's going to bring us in with spectacles, safety goggles, visors, respirators. Apparently there's millions of these stacked away, and medical personnel protective equipment. The Department of Defense is the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Coast Guard, Special Operations, Homeland Security, National Guard, and the Reserves. So we're going after all of these in this upcoming year, and hopefully by the end of 2017, 2018, we will be in full swing. So just to give you an idea about the size of those markets, in just the U.S. forces, they've sold 250,000 tactical goggles and 210 spectacles, which are those little guys sitting up there. And that's about 25% of the market. The other 75% of the market we'll have available to us as well. We're talking about going to South America and overseas where they might not have as much of a budget, but they're very interested in protecting their gear. So some of the next steps are actually getting out to these places, going to Fort Rucker, Alabama to test with the Army, Dayton, Ohio for the Air Force, and we've been to Quantico, Virginia, and met with the Marines, and they were very excited about it. So why are they going to choose us? And we're confident because we have a utility patent. We got our product and the design patented fully, and we're working on our international patents right now. We're trademarked. The Ripclear logo, the Ripclear name is completely trademarked, and we have over 150 profiles, or 150 social profiles registered under our name. So our margins on the standalone packs, we sell those for $30 in the stores. We're in Dick's, like I mentioned before, and across America already. And those wholesale about $15, and it costs about $1.79 to make. So that's 88% margin. So we've got a lot of wiggle room. And with our co-branding and licensing, we sell each rip, that's one of these, for $2, and those cost about 39 cents to make. And as I mentioned, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of units right away and going into millions real soon. So we release and we start with North America. We're looking to go to New Zealand and Australia real soon, just so we can become a 12-month business as soon as possible, and then to Europe and beyond. So our competition right now, if anyone downhill mountain bikes, there's probably some out there, or motocrosses, is the tearaway system, and it requires a post. You kind of have the right goggle. We're hearing that it's going illegal. Our product directly adheres to your lens. You don't rip it off when you're out there. You remove it when you're in your house or in the lodge, so you don't throw it on the ground. Another competitor might be $10 goggles, but good luck with those. Yeah, as I mentioned, we're patented, we're custom shaped, so we've got the plastic. We're ready to really cut it out to any design. We can get a new design and a new line going in about a week. We've tested ourselves a couple times, and we're looking to partner with as many brands as possible. People have really taken big interest in it, so it's really exciting to get kind of pulled in other directions rather than starting to just push your product. Our revenue, so this year, before the season's really even started, we've moved 10,000 units already. This is really our first full year in production. Next year, with funding, we're looking to push about over 100,000 units and co-brand with about 50,000 units, moving to about 1 million by 2019, and then the goal is by 2021 to sell 8 million and then co-brand about 6 million. And we think this growth is sustainable with funding. I guess the whole point of us being here is we have some funding gaps that we're trying to fill, and the next step is to get a real sales manager who can manage our reps at all time. And that's about all I have for you. Thanks for having me. We love what we do, and we love Bent.
So why don't you stand over here?
Sure.
I'll take some. So you have some questions? Yes.
So can you explain how you went from your light bulb moment to action? You know, what got you to think about this, and what got you to actually go and create this?
Yeah, so how did you get from the idea to implementation?
So I actually love telling that story. I worked up in Mount Bachelor for about 2.5 years, and I was running about 130 days a year, and I was going through 4 pairs of lens a year. It was kind of ridiculous. And I'd seen the downhill mountain bikers with their tearaways, so I thought something had to exist for ski and snowboard goggles. Did the Google search, searched high and low. There was nothing. Called my business partner out in New York City who has an engineering and architecture background, as well as bringing those products to market or to startups, and asked him if he wanted to create this. He said yes, and it's kind of history from there.
Great story. Yes, Paul?
Do you have a patent for the process, and how large of a surface area can you
Yeah. Do you have a patent for the process, and how large a surface area can it cover?
Yeah, so about 4 months ago, we got awarded our patent on the delivery application, so how we actually deliver the product. And surface, we can go as big as we want. We've talked about car windows. That's been an approach to us. We've seen on NASCAR, kind of when they tear away the windows. So anything we can really make a shape to in AutoCAD, we can cut out.
Oh. Could you, I'd like to get a package that had like the Ripclear with the car. Could you do that? No, what's the question?
Next.
Over here.
Can you describe your patenting process, and were there any hiccups
Were there hiccups in the patenting process?
We found a patent lawyer right here in town, and she worked ski patrol up at the mountain, Celia Lever. So that was kind of convenient. She really knew our vision. We sent it in. We were never positive we were going to get it. They kind of did the thing where they reject it and send back, and you have to kind of defend yourselves. And we only had to send back once, and then they accepted it. So we've talked to some other people that have worked years on their patents. It was really kind of not too bad. To get our patent? I think it took under a year. Yeah. Celia was real great.
Okay. So somebody mentioned a connection they made for you with Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk? So some of these things are random connections that lead to really great opportunities. Can you speak to that?
So last month, a few weeks ago, we spoke at the outdoor conference, which was right before the Ben Venture Conference on the Wednesday, and we had somebody kind of pull us out of the crowd, and they had a connection with Shoot. So she hooked us up with them. We're talking to one of their product managers right now. We just started talks with them this week. And on top of that, another person in the crowd hooked us up with the CEO of the Rudy Project sunglasses. So we're going to start talks with them. And then I think there was some REI buyers. So really, thanks to EDCO. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me.
So now, thank you so much. I can see clearly now. I'd like to introduce Leslie Camacho, Chief Customer Officer of CraftCMS, a content-first CMS that aims to make life more enjoyable for developers and content managers alike. Leslie?
Thank you for the introduction, and good evening. Like was previously said, my name is Leslie Camacho. I am the Chief Customer Officer for CraftCMS. This evening, I'm here to tell you a little bit of my story, but more importantly, I'm here to apologize for your website. It's probably terrible, and you and your staff likely don't enjoy working with it, and for the small percentage of you that are happy with your website, it was likely a difficult and expensive and painful process to get there, and that's partly my fault too. I have a very clear memory of November 10, 1993. That's 23 years, 8 days ago. My friend Anil Dash lovingly refers to this as the time before. No iPhones, no Google, no Uber. The time before. It was a fairly normal Wednesday afternoon. I was doing tech support for my high school when my boss Gary came in and said, "Les, you've got to see this." He took me into the cave, which was a room of multi-layered shelves covered with computers, most of them in various states of repair. He sat me down in front of the closest working one and launched a program. We called them programs, not apps in the time before. Mosaic wasn't, technically speaking, the first web browser. That was the program that he launched. So he launched this program called Mosaic, and it loaded something called a home page. And it blew my mind. Then Gary opened up another program called the text editor, made a few edits, opened up Mosaic again, and the page instantly changed. I was hooked. Within 6 months, I started a web page company. I worked my way through college making web pages. I was the first one at my college to do my honors thesis as a web application, an online market for independent comic book producers called Sideshow. My professors didn't know what the internet was. I had to explain that part to them in addition to what a web application was. Again, this was the time before. That led to a CTO job at a small marketing firm, which led to being the vice president of Ellis Lab, where eventually I became the CEO. Ellis Lab makes Expression Engine, one of the top 10 CMS systems, and arguably still the largest of the independent systems. And we'll take a technical pause here. CMS, Content Management System, the easiest way to think about this is that it's the software that is the heart of your website. It's the center of everything connects to it, and if you don't take care of it, your website dies. It's the reason your website gets expensive, and it's probably the reason that you either love or hate working with your website. I count myself fortunate to have been part of the online publishing revolution from the very beginning. We were on a mission to make sure that everyone could have a voice on the web, and we here is not just my former employer, but all my friends, peers, and competitors that who took the idea of a World Wide Web and made it a place of opportunity for everyone and not just a place for the uber geeks and nerds. and I use those terms lovingly and count myself among them. It was a beautiful thing. And that brings me to my apology. 23 years later, I'm sorry your choices are still painful when it comes to having a website that actually creates value for your business, your cause, your organization, your startups. This is especially true if your team is larger than 3 but less than 1,000, and I imagine that's most of us here. Collectively, our fledgling industry did amazing work, but we made some critical mistakes, and the two I feel the worst about are these. When the investment money came in, we abandoned the middle. Imagine if you wanted to buy a car, and you went to a car dealership, and your purchasing options were a moped or a semi-truck. That's what it's like choosing web software right now. You have your mopeds, your Squarespace, your Wix, your WordPress, which is the juggernaut that we've all probably heard of. And the goal of those models when they took investment became to eliminate the web professionals that actually know how to create the value for you. They have told you that you can drag and drop your way to online success. And for a small percentage of you, it's true, and for everyone else, you backed yourself into a corner that was very expensive to get out of. Then on the other side, you have the semi-trucks. These are the Sitecore, the WordPress VIP, the Drupals, and God help you, Joomla. These options usually need $100,000 a year minimum if you're going at the professional business licenses level before they even take you seriously. They also work hard to eliminate the professional because they make it all about their product instead of what being a web developer should be. So you end up with a Sitecore specialist versus a mature web developer who knows how to create value on your behalf. And you'll notice that the moped and the semi, neither of them is even a car, which is what you wanted in the first place. Exactly. For those of us who didn't take investment, who stayed independent and bootstrapped, we refused to serve the rapidly growing professional middle class of web developers. We built them great software, but bizarrely refused to support their customers. That's you, by the way. It's true. There are over 400 content management systems today, and only a handful of us even try. It's just as crazy as it sounds. We had a love of software and innovation, but a horrific lack of empathy. Why is this? Well, it turns out that creating web software for web professionals who serve people like you and I is incredibly difficult and complicated because there are very real human, professional, and business needs that can't be automated. That's pretty much the lie we continually tell ourselves as software developers. We can automate that value. As an industry, we are hardwired to eliminate that human interaction, and it shows. So after 11 years of trying this independently, I couldn't do it anymore, and I walked away. And I had the benefit of doing that because I was the CEO, but not the owner, and I was fortunate to be able to do that. But I'm also one of those true believers who is driven by mission. I just needed a break. 3 years after that, I had lunch with CraftCMS's founder and CEO, Brandon Kelly, sitting down here. Brandon, someone asked us beforehand how we met each other. So the very, very, very short version is Brandon actually used to be my customer back in the time before. Then he became my competitor, but fortunately always my friend. Over lunch, we ended up having a long heart-to-heart about the state of the web. We had both reached the same conclusion. The best software doesn't win. Most software developers eventually have this epiphany. We had ours. It has to be about the total customer experience, and to deliver that, you have to have support and empower the professionals who use the software to create the value, not eliminate them. So Brandon and Brad, our CTO, also down here, and Craft's co-founder, arguably, they have the best CMS in Craft. It is spectacularly good. And they wanted to build services to support and empower professionals who serve the middle, and they invited me to join them, and I knew I'd never forgive myself if I said no. Which finally brings us to Craft and the work we're doing right now. We love building software, and we love providing the services to the people who make your website and the people who use it every day. We have witnessed firsthand that when you give these professionals both the software and the service they need and have them work in sync, they outperform everything else at a fraction of the cost. It's not even close. That's the formula. Most other industries know this. Software, we're slow. We're super smart when we're looking straight ahead, but we have a hard time looking to the side where a lot of people have figured out already. We've seen it work now for 3 years. We've seen folks like our friends Stu and Matt go from a couple of freelancers working out of their car, and they now run a 40-person agency out of New York who use Craft to build websites for the Associated Press. We love seeing friends like Leah and Emily go from freelancers to establishing a certified WBENC agency. That's a Women's Business Enterprise National Council certified business, and they can support enterprise-class organization as a two-person shop on our software. So this is where we're at right now. We're profitable. We just managed to cross the seven-figure revenue mark for the first time this year. We're 3 years old. We have about 3,000 customers, most of them business to business. There are over 45,000 websites built on Craft right now that covered a wide variety of organizations and industries from the very small to the very large, like the Associated Press. We can name drop with the best of them. Our customers include Microsoft, Apple, Oakley, Lenovo, P&G, et cetera, but we are most interested in optimizing for the professionals in the middle and their clients. We want to do our best for folks like 5Talent, for Newman 33 here in Bend. That's the type of organization that we want to double down for because it's the fastest growing type of web professional in the United States and in the world right now. We want to be the best solution for them and for you. We want to support them, not eliminate them. No more of the bizarre moped or semi-truck decision matrix. Together, we want to build you a website that nobody has to apologize for, and instead, you'll be thrilled that your site is creating consistent value for you, and your team enjoys using it every day. The other thing that we know is that what got us here right now is unlikely to get us to where we want to go next. We need to make a pivot with our business model. We want to make this pivot in a way that invests in our community, both here in Bend and around the globe. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Good one. So we have a few minutes for questions for Les. Did he answer every question that you have? I can't believe that. Oh, I gotcha. So when you're going through this and you're talking about doing a pivot and changing some things, so is there something that's keeping you awake at night regarding the business that you'd like us to help you with?
The biggest thing is that the way that we make money right now is the license fee, which does not cover the cost of providing the service as more of the larger companies and agencies start using our software. So it's trying to figure out how to provide those services without increasing the license fee and instead adding service as something that our customers can resell on our behalf. Yeah. So that we, instead of finding ways to charge our customers more, we have to find ways for them to be profitable using us.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. Natalie?
So I'm a content creator and manager, and I currently use WordPress. How would CraftCMS help me in my day-to-day life?
So Natalie is currently a content developer and manager, and she currently uses WordPress. So how would this interface or be helped by your system?
Probably the best way to describe it is that with WordPress, it's really easy to mess up your own site. But with ours, we have a way to give the content authors a lot of power and control over the content without impacting the page's design or the interactions and feature sets. And it's built specifically for you instead of having to tweak WordPress's template or approach. WordPress assumes that you're going to have a blog, and anything else you're sort of really beating it into submission. With ours, you're building exactly what you need.
Other questions? Yes.
5Talent.
5Talent. Preston Collicott.
In the WordPress world, which started out as a blog and became phenomenally successful because the community started creating massive amounts of plugins and tools for it, which is what elevated it. It was very buggy to start with, became very stable after a while. How do you see CraftCMS getting economies of scale, of getting users to start creating utilities and plugins to get that kind of scale?
Okay, let me give that a try. So when WordPress first came out, the community actually helped expand its utility by adding things on. What could the community of users that use your products do that to make it more valuable and relevant? How did I do?
That was good.
Okay.
That was good. We have a community that does that already, and so next year we're going to be releasing a, for lack of a better term right now, an app store that centralizes that. Because right now they're selling individually, there's no centralized way, and there's no certification or vetting process. So again, if you are having an established company, you want that input and the backing of the vendor. And that's really what we can provide that Automatic won't. Automatic is the makers of WordPress, won't provide the community at large, only their WordPress VIP clients.
Great. You have one or two sentence parting comment for us?
Yes, thank you so much for letting me talk about websites, and to apologize to all of you, and thank you very much to EDCO.
Great, thank you. So I appreciate everybody who pitched and gave us an update tonight. It's just awesome to hear of the progress, challenges, and opportunities everybody's facing. So now we move into our keynote speaker time, and this is always a great period of the PubTalk where people that have had some experience, both challenges and opportunities, kind of tell their story. And tonight's Tom Fristoe, CEO of Ben's TeamUnify. And TeamUnify is a platform designed specifically for swimming and delivers easy-to-use centralized business process optimization to thousands of swim teams. He's no stranger to swimming himself, having started at age 17. I'm just going to say a few stats about this before Tom starts. He's eager to get going. He's used to being at the starting line, ready to go. So he swam in the '84 Olympics, Olympic trials in 3 individual events, and finished in the top 25 in the world in the 400 individual medley. Do we say IM in the industry? 400 IM? Okay. In the top 25 in the world in the 400 IM in the same year. And following the trials, he went on to win 4 consecutive 10-mile Seal Beach rough water swims and kept competing in many Masters Nationals. So it turns out that some of the times that he swam in the USMS Nationals remain ranked in the top 10 fastest events / times ever swum by any master swimmer. So the guy is fast in the water and a great CEO, and we'll look forward to hearing a little bit of his story. Thanks, Tom, for being here.
Okay, well, I'm just going to take that page out of the deck here that you just covered. So hi, yes, again, I'm Tom Fristoe. Thank you for having me, EDCO, Brian, for the invitation. I'm honored to be here. It's really a privilege. And I guess a couple objectives tonight. First is to try to inspire you with some of my story, what I've done. And secondly is try to accelerate some of your success through how I applied a mindset to my career. And so really the objective, as was directed by Brian and the EDCO crew, is try to share and give some advice as best I can. So let me first start with a little bit about me. I promise it'll be a little bit. So married 26 years, 3 wonderful college-age daughters, 2 of which are watching Dad talk tonight, so I was a little more nervous about watching them watch me. And lived here in Bend for 10 years. We moved up from Northern California in 2007. Love it here. And as Julie mentioned, I am a swimmer. It is a badge of honor for me personally. I'm sort of a product of swimming. It's the thing that it taught me everything about working hard. Started late as a junior in high school, went to trials, carried on through as an adult swimmer, and really it's a perfect segue for why I'm really standing here, which is the company I brought to Bend here in 2007. But it taught me everything. There's nothing hard at all in business compared to what I did in swimming, so it taught me the hardest skill ever, which is how to work hard and not be afraid of it. As for my career, I'm a tech sales guy. I became a technologist, kind of an innovator, inventor, mostly to solve problems to go sell more crap to earn more commissions as a sales guy. So I landed my first job as I was renting computers to small businesses. I started in 1985. Then when I wrote the 1985 number down, I'm not quite as old as dirt, but it turns out it's pretty old. So interesting stats. PCXT with a 1 megabyte hard drive was my first computer. A viral marketing campaign for me was double prints at the local photo store. There was no internet, no e-commerce, no cell phones. The hot video game was Pong, and so it's a long time ago. A lot have change occurred. A lot of things that could have derailed me, not wanted to sort of go through all the suffering, all these changes. But to me, it was the most exciting part about this is to go through these vast changes. And also worked for 10 companies, was managed by about 25 folks over my sort of 16-year career before I started my first company in 2000 out of the Bay Area. And then during that endeavor, I started inadvertently TeamUnify and formally formed that company here in Bend in 2007. So along that path, I've raised $3.5 million worth of angel financing, over $20 million in venture to go make these dreams come true. So lots of experience. And so when I wrap all this up, it's sort of a 31-year overnight success. So, so in terms of the advice, what can I share? I mean, there's, I don't know anybody in this room hardly. So for me to give any pointed things, you can walk away and change your life. I thought I'd share sort of a story about mindset to me. And I think everyone has the ability to control mindset, and I believe it's an incredibly empowering thing for change and performance. So I can tell you for sure, my success is based on my mindset. I mean, it's not how smart I am. Actually, you don't need to be very smart to be relentlessly tough and fire that my relentless mindset. In fact, being relentless will help you get smarter, it turns out. You'll stand out. You'll be rewarded for the being relentless. Companies will shower you with raises and promotions. You should trust in the process of being relentless. Don't ever doubt the fact that being relentless, a company or the people who venture or finance your companies will believe in you more because they will. I know I never asked for a raise because you won't need to. And then the most amazing fact is it's really not very difficult to stand out in a company. I mean, I've shared 100 times with our children that, stay 5 minutes late, an eyebrow gets raised, stay 15 minutes late, 2 eyebrows get raised, ask for a meeting at 5:30 with your boss, come in before your boss, leave before your boss, or after your boss leaves. These are things that I guarantee you. I guarantee it. I guarantee you will find your way up any ladder you want to climb. You'll make more money. You'll have more fun along the way. And it all has everything to do with what's between here in terms of your mindset and being relentless. So that's my bit of advice for you in terms of what you're trying to do, whether it be a founder of a company or an employee of one of those founders. So let me share a quick story on TeamUnify now. So how this all came to be is in 2003 when I was in the middle of the other venture-backed deal I was running. I was asked to join the board of a master swim team I was on, and it was just a favor to help a young couple and help them out. They were apparently going to get fired at the time from the board, and everyone loved these. So I said, okay, I'll go take a peek at what's going on. I joined the board, became the president of this illustrious 180-person master swim team, and sat down at the table with 4 other volunteers, and the bag of books and how they ran this business was dropped on the table. And it wasn't something I wanted to participate in. So the guy that ran engineering for me, I asked him for a favor. I said, would you mind helping me sort of solve some of the problems that I was experiencing in running this swim team? And so we started just screwing around. We started writing some software and solving some problems for this one swim team. And then, as it turns out, one swim team after another started hearing about this thing. And then, eventually, after I heard that enough, it dawned on me that it actually might be a good idea that we had here. So We were transitioned about 2006. I exited from the other company that I had started. We wanted to move to a place like Bend, which we did in 2007. So I brought the company up here, myself and my partner. We brought a third partner in. Who bought his way in for not very much money, and we rented a house over in Shevlin Park and for TeamUnify corporate headquarters. And it was going to be kind of a lifestyle business, have some fun, so we hired our first couple salespeople, and now, 9 years later, we have approaching 5,000 swim teams on our platform. We have almost 50 employees here in Bend. We have 20 engineers over in Vietnam. And then, as good fortune would have it, just with our head down, blinders on, just having fun, this lifestyle company was anything but that. I was contacted by a gentleman out of Minnesota, with a group called Sports Engine, which is a kindred spirit of ours. They write software to manage most every other sports team other than swimming, which is what we do. We write software to manage these swim teams. And so we closed the acquisition in June, and then one day after that deal closed, NBC Sports bought both of us. So I am an employee of NBC Sports. If we had Comcast here, we'd get a good deal on Comcast, it turns out, but it's not available. So much for that perk. And I will tell you, it was the most rewarding 9 years of my life. It was so much fun to take a business from that was supposed to be nothing but a lifestyle business and be relentless with it and share that relentless passion, and to be able to give back to the sport that gave me everything that I have here as a career individual. It couldn't have been a better ending for me. And so I'm still with the company. I'll be with the company for a long while longer. That's the TeamUnify story. So the last bit I'll share with you is I'm going to kind of rattle this off, is sort of how do I put this here? So let's call them best practices. So I just thought, in terms of tactical things, let's call them personal best practices. I think it's important, you can be anything you want in your career and your job and be as a founder and owner of a company, but decide what you want to be. Focus on that. Be relentless at whatever you want to be there. Trust in the process of working hard, and give of yourself without any reservation. I guarantee the rewards will rush in. Listen to your intuition. Share your successes with others. Bring everyone in. Give let everyone else take the credit for it. You'll build trust and camaraderie and a kindred spirit inside of your company that you otherwise wouldn't have. Take full responsibility for your mistakes. Fall on that sword. Outwork everybody. Be extremely organized. Become invaluable to the company. Somehow, some way, stand out. It's fun. It's better than not being a standout, in my opinion. Over-communicate, and if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough, for sure. Mistakes are okay. All right, and then on the operational side of a company, first, enjoy the ride. It's amazingly rewarding. Have fun. I mean, this is, it doesn't have to suck. It's like it's supposed to be fun, right? So, again, be relentless. More accurately, be relentlessly focused. And in TeamUnify's case, we didn't have enough money. We didn't raise really any money. So we had to be focused on one sport. And that was the biggest blessing, because while there was every week a temptation to dive into volleyball and basketball and soccer and all the other sports, we said no. And it was our greatest asset. So narrow your focus. Don't roll over when you're tired. Listen to your customers. The 80-20 focus, it's focused on that 20%. It's all that matters. It's usually pretty obvious what the 20% is. Say no more often. Less really is more. I guarantee it. It really, and when you just say no, and it clears the deck and just have no regrets on saying no about stuff. Be intolerant, but not to a fault. finish that last mile. Become intolerant of stuff. If it doesn't feel right, don't let it go. Be intolerant of that. And then clearly set, and as managers or owners of companies, set expectations very clearly. I think it's the best way to motivate employees. Just guide and nurture by setting expectations. Write a great company handbook. It really does help. It's another form of expectation setting. And in the end, it's okay not to make everybody happy. You can't make all your customers happy. You can't make all your employees happy, but you can try really hard, and that's where the trust will be built. And so in closing, here's my advice. Find that next gear for how you commit to your work. Trust that you'll be taken care of. I promise you'll be blown away by the results of that. And again, really enjoy yourself. And with that, I thank you very much for your time.
I'm gonna stand over here.
Okay, sure.
Take questions. So, questions for Tom? Yes. What kinds of problems did you solve for swim team management?
So it turns out sports in general, amateur sport, is extremely huge business, and it's all run by non-paid, unpaid, part-time volunteer folks with typically not much business acumen. Sometimes but generally it was just moms and dads just doing their time, helping out with a team because their children are on the team. So in all that, the problems, the business problems that we're solving is, one, we are a CMS, so we're a little baby version. We are membership management, email communication, all forms of communication, billing, registration, lessons management, volunteer job sign-up systems, then mobile applications, similar, sort of parity with, tools that you have in your pocket, in your hand, and it's basically running a business, collection of money, communication tools, and then one of the biggest assets is everything related to the competition side, meet entries, meet results, records reporting. And it's in our world, it's just one single house, one island where all of this is managed. You don't have disparate systems to go run that.
Yes, over here.
What was NBC's sports interest in both of your companies?
Yeah, what was NBC's sports interest in acquiring both companies?
I think everyone may have thought about cutting the cord with cable TV. You got Hulu and Netflix and, on. You got all sorts of ways to get your content in your hands and et cetera. So cable television providers are facing that reality. NBC apparently in their last quarter had their first down subscriber quarter in their history because of cord cutting. So what's happening is these mega organizations, these cable companies, are looking for different venues for all of our eyes where else they might be. So from that perspective, we, just for example, TeamUnify, this year will serve about 30 million unique visitors across our property of teams, probably almost 500 million page views. So it's an extremely vibrant, high traffic, high intensity, lots of return traffic, demographics. We know the ages of the children, the genders, where the parents live. We have every bit of data. So in the end, the short answer is they're looking for eyeballs, and we have them. And so while we don't monetize that today, there's certainly a long-term plan for that to come into effect. And that's it.
Are you working for the company now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm the general manager of TeamUnify. No business as usual. Just more to do now because we're integrating with now NBC.
How does the persistence of long distance open water swimming correlate to working as an entrepreneur and doing the things that you've done over the last 31 years?
I lived through. I guess running a company is the scariest thing in the whole world. One of my longtime mentors, for years he says I'm a complete idiot for wanting to start my own company, and It is. It's the craziest, scariest thing, and it's stressful. And I think that the correlation between sort of those stresses and that kind of insanity of running your own company and your responsibilities to a lot of people, open water marathoning is equally stressful. It sort of challenges my brain to understand how to deal with stress effectively.
Yeah, Wendy?
I'm a TeamUnify customer. I have 2 kids on the bed swim club.
Nice.
So my question is, with the NBC Sports acquisition, is there more money coming at you guys to improve what you offer to customers, or tell us about that?
So is there more money to reinvest in the product to make it better, more features for customers?
For sure. I mean, I think, yes. I mean, the quick answer is we have, there's an astonishing amount of financial resources available to Sports Engine and TeamUnify at this point. We as a company, right now, there is an enormous amount of energy being put on rewrites of most of our platform. So we're actively staffing. We've got recs out for 10 more people here just in Bend. That wasn't available. Those recs didn't exist before this merger. So the quick answer, yeah, for sure we'll have more resources, and I think that the feature request list is a very, very long one, and so I think that our hope is that we'll only accelerate our path to more and better.
Yes.
How did you end up choosing NBC and Comcast over
How'd you end up choosing NBC and Comcast over
other bidders?
other bidders?
They chose us. No choice. It was just it was sort of the event technically was we were acquired by Sports Engine first, and then Sports Engine was acquired by NBC. So it was just this train of events. So my acquisition was produced with Sports Engine out of Minnesota, and then behind those scenes was the NBC acquisition of both of us, which was that acquisition was controlled by Sports Engine.
I hear a question from over on this side. Yeah. When did the acquisition take place?
June 3rd, we closed.
Not very long ago. Have you had a chance to do much swimming?
A little.
Other questions? Thoughts? Yes. Okay.
How did your culture shift with the NBC?
How did your culture shift with the NBC purchase?
So it's probably the most important question, I think, is I was deeply concerned about what happened to us here in Bend, and so I think the confidence that we have to be able to stay here in Bend was the number one thing to secure. While it's never a certainty, it's likely a certainty for us. And so as part of that, how do you share that, this kind of scary story that there's some 150,000 person company that now owns us? How do we just not get lost in the fray? And I think the only thing I could share with everybody was trust in that this change will be good and nothing will change. And our culture, I think, is sound. I mean, we can always improve, and I think we will get better at that. I'll just share a story with you in a second about how that gets better. But I think it's a matter of time. So my promise to everyone was, and from the Sports Engine NBC crew, that as they've been coming in and we've been talking to the entire team, we were saying what's going to happen. And so far, almost 5 months into it, it's everything that they said was going to happen is going to happen. And so 2 bits of sort of cultural, like, okay, I see the benefits of this. Just yesterday, we had a team of folks leave and we just rolled out the new benefits program because we'll now be on Comcast's, healthcare plan, their 401k plan, be paid by them. And needless to say, their healthcare plan is a little better than ours. And so culturally, I mean, the impact and the 401k, I mean, it's astonishingly better. I mean, and then furthermore is our team is starting to see opportunities, whether for some reason they want to go venture off into Minnesota or one of NBC or Comcast offices. There is incredible upward and mobility for anybody who wants to aspire to be something different than in TeamUnify as well.
Gator?
How and why do you determine what jobs to keep in Bend and what jobs to send to Vietnam?
How do you determine what jobs to keep here and what jobs to have in Vietnam?
The Vietnam operation is development only. So the short version of the long story is we really struggled trying to find engineers here in Bend. Just simply could not find, we have now 26 engineers. I can't even imagine finding 26 engineers and in Bend here. We tried really, really hard. So anyway, through a course of events, the organization that we're partnered with in Vietnam it's absolutely been phenomenal. And so that's the DMARC, is engineering. There's going to be a core group of sort of core engineering resources here in Bend always. But as we scale, our development requirements will go to Vietnam. Everything else, operationally, marketing, sales, G&A, customer service, customer support, is all here in Bend.
Yes.
On that same vein, how has Ben supported or hindered you in your, hindering is like engineering, but you moved here in an interesting time, right, to Ben, right before and during the collapse and the recession. So what is it about the Ben ecosystem that appealed to you? Is it the lifestyle only, or was there other aspects to it, like EDCO and other support services?
What was it about the Bend ecosystem that drew you to Bend?
The truth is we came here as a family first. We wanted a lifestyle change for our family. That was the most important thing. And what I did know, I didn't know EDCO existed at the time. We had not as large an aspiration as we actually delivered. So I wasn't overly concerned that we'd be able to find talented people who wanted to be part of a fun company, which we proved out fairly quickly. Once that shift from lifestyle sort of mentality shifted to, oh my God, it's like, 14 hours a day, to it was then finding really talented people. And that's when we found that they're here. For sure, but we have a population of, round figures 90,000 folks to pull from, so maybe a little bit, call it 100,000, round it up. It's not a massive pool, especially so we have been challenged by that. There are other tech companies, and we've been incredibly respectful of no poaching, nothing. We've been very careful to be really respectful of our friends in town here because it is such a small pool. And so, but somehow, some way, because we keep growing, we keep finding talented people, and we grow. And then I'd say the one other side benefit, the asset of folks here in Bend, is we all want to be here. Being from the Bay Area, I can tell you, everyone that I hired had 1 foot out the door. It was like there was always a greener pasture somewhere. 10 more shares of stock options or whatever it might be the case was, a slight breeze, they'd head off. So.
Great. Tom, I'm going to go to the side. Yeah. Tom, thanks for being here tonight. So we have this special gift for you. Cool. This is a tankard, this is what I call it, for if you next time you come to PubTalk, McMenowans will fill it up. They'll fill it up every time you come for PubTalk when you have it with you. So thank you.
Right now tonight?
Will they do that tonight? Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Great job. Thank you so much. I didn't tell, Tom and I had a chance to meet a couple months ago, and I don't think I told him the story, but he mentioned to me that in La Jolla Shores area is a great training ground for open water swimming. And I happened to be there about, maybe 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and I decided to go swimming, to see what it was like to swim in the open water, It's kind of like that entrepreneurial mindset, like how hard can it be? So I get in the water, and I'm standing right about here, and the sun is kind of low in the sky, so it's shining through the waves, and I look down, and I'm like, shark! And I run out of the water, and then I calm down, and I go, okay, there were no signs. The chances that was actually a shark are really low. So I took some deep breaths, and I walked very calmly and coolly up to a lifeguard and said, I think there was a shark in the water. He said, "Oh, those are leopard sharks. They just hang out here and breed. They're not dangerous." So that's a corollary to entrepreneurialism, right? You can think that there's something really frightening, and actually, in the end, it's not that big a deal. But the elements that a person, I think, from just the background research I did before we got here tonight, the elements that a person has to face in open water swimming are really interesting metaphors for what it might take to be a successful entrepreneur. So that relentless quality that you called out, I think, is a big part of that. And to be successful doing the kinds of things we're trying to do, which are, build successful enterprises, it's a big deal. It's hard work. So I appreciate everybody being here and being focused on that. So I got a couple closing comments for you, now that I told my frightening story. So PubTalk is taking the holidays off, and we'll see you here again on January 26th. Safe travels, and get ready for a rockin' 2017. It's there's this, I think it's a Chinese saying, "May you live in interesting times." I think we live in interesting times. It's great to have a chance to be together and finish up this year. And, we're heading into Thanksgiving, so in the spirit of gratitude, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I'm very thankful for you. And I think as we head into, John mentioned some interesting things about the SEC and the positions, and there's a lot of change afoot. And I think that gratitude will help us bridge our way through that uncertainty. And I appreciate everybody's focus on building a strong and healthy economy here. Very grateful to all of you, and have safe travels. And we'll see you in 2017. Hard to believe we're almost there. Congratulations for being so great.